Hi everyone, it's Justine, and today it's my last day guest designing for the ton, and I wanted to do a sort of a tie-dye distress background for this card. So I started off with some cracked pistachio distress ink, and I grabbed my sponge and started inking up from the sides. Now I'm going to show you this into fast motion because I don't think anybody wants to watch 20 minutes of blending, but pretty much you'll get the idea even with fast motion. So I started off here in the top right corner, and I decided to continue on in other spaces of the card as well, just to spread out the color a little bit. Originally my plan was to do sort of a greeny blue background, but I thought, why don't I try adding some different colors and seeing what blends well with the cracked pistachio, because it's a color that I've rarely used because I'm kind of unsure as to which colors would blend with it. So after I looked online, I didn't find very much, so I ended up having to experiment a little bit, and I found some really cool combinations. Now this color here, I'm not sure if it's because the ink pad was a little bit dry or what the case was, took a really long time to build up, and you'll see that the other colors don't take nearly as long. The next color that I chose is Peacock Feathers, and this color blends extremely well with the cracked pistachio. So I think a lot of the blues and the greens are going to blend in well with this color, whereas some of the other ones might not. You have to be really careful with this color, I find, as to what's going to create a browny, mucky color. And that's why I kind of took the Peacock Feathers and I layered it over top of it so that I would have to blend with the Peacock Feathers and not so much the cracked pistachio. Next up, I wanted to go into a really bright, vibrant color, so I decided to pick Picked Raspberry, and Picked Raspberry is one of my favorite colors, and it also, when mixed with the peacock feathers, will turn into a sort of purple color. So it made quite a dark spot in my card, which made the tie-dye look even more realistic in my opinion, because you have those different light and dark looks. So I went in and carried in the pink raspberry over top of the blues and the greens, and then I decided to change into some other colors and experiment with those. The next color I took was Spice Marmalade, and this one here is a nice orange. It also blends nicely with the cracked pistachio, which is why I finished off the cracked pistachio here, because I didn't want to keep experimenting just in case something went wrong. So I decided to kind of stop there. As you can see, it's not the best blending with this color, but it does work. So try not to blend it too much into each other, but more side by side. And the last color to top off my card, just to make it a little more bright and cheerful, I decided to use Squeeze Lemonade, which I think is the most vibrant yellow that there is in the distress line. And that's going to be finishing up my background. So I'm just working my way into the center, and I'm using a little bit of a heavier hand at this point. I don't really mind that there's some different textures and some different shading and things like that in the card. I think that's what kind of brings it to life. But I do want it to blend in with the other colors, so I did have to go in a little bit less from the side and more into the center. I'm going to be stamping this gigantic thanks here from the Ton Stamps, and I'm going to be using this or sort of an angle so the whole word fits. You can also stamp the word thank. There is a U stamp that goes with it as well in smaller letters. So it's just up to you whether you want to say thanks or thank you, and then you can stamp the appropriate amount. I pushed down onto the card and it created a really great impression, but I do like to do that second one just to get some more boldness to the black. And then lastly, I simply stamped the For Everything. I apologize for my lamp glaring. Usually I like to film during the day, but lately it's been getting darker and darker here in Canada, and it's been a little bit difficult, so I've had to film some things at night, and that is why you get that reflection. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the card and enjoyed this tutorial. I simply mounted it onto a card paper base and added some Nuvo drops for embellishment. Thanks so much for watching, everyone.